So, I got time to kill. I'm trying to charge my phone, and let's just jump into what will be. I believe it's week 26 minus 2, at least for this planned episode. Forced adaptation. As at least the solo portion of my Japan trip is kind of trying to target some of those entrepreneurial viewpoints and things of adaptation, forced adaptation. Let me preface this with, obviously I'm in a fantastic position, I guess. I'm a lucky guy. But that being said, who comes to Japan on their own? Who comes to an Okinawan island? Intended for honeymooners. I did not plan that. Whoopsie. But and the next island I think will work out better, and then the main island, which I will probably love. So I booked a room substantially too large for one guy. But the first place I was at, I really liked it. I enjoyed it. It was a pretty small place. I wouldn't call it a hostel, but I think it was a hostel. It's just like this little tiny hole in the wall. Maybe 60 square feet for the room, shared restrooms, shared bathrooms. I guess this is like a Western equivalent. Like if you go to Maui, I would not be surprised if this room is like $2,000 to fucking $8,000. This was only $500 or $600. And did I blow my budget for staying? Probably. But I believe I'll accumulate enough points so that I can essentially comp the whole entire stay in the main island, depending on where I choose to go. Now, ramble aside, when it comes to forced adaptation, right? I don't know the language. I don't know let me put that there. I don't know the systems here, the thoughts and things. Obviously, I think there is some level of, I want to move here. I want to start a business here in Japan, specifically Tokyo. I think I fell in love with the transport stuff, but I didn't know really what to do in Tokyo. I went to the stock exchange. You'll have my vlog thing that I'll drop hopefully when I meet my friends here at the end of the month. But with that being said, like this forced adaptation, you have to see. I don't like saying shape shift. I think there's a certain connotation to it, but you have to shift your habits, your behavior. You have to adapt your behaviors. You have to manipulate, maybe not so much who you are, what you are. And I guess as someone very independent, obviously Texan, it's like in my blood to be independently minded. The attitudes or like how you go about things. For whatever reason, I am kind of conformist there. And just seeing how organized things are, you're like, okay, as a tourist, I want to come here and adapt to the behaviors of society and whatever, and enjoy my stay while feeling welcome in your country. And not overstepping, boundaries or whatever, obviously. I think as a tourist, as a Westerner, you come and enjoy things as presented. And I guess there's certain things where it's kind of like, there's museums that I wanted to see that are a little more financially minded, that are more targeted towards domestic travelers than, international travelers. I still get English pamphlets and things, but sadly, I don't know, there's a little blend, right? I know there's places I've gone that I know I would have enjoyed substantially more if I knew the language, right? I think that's kind of the what I'm saying here. And I don't know, it's always like, I'm a polyglot, and it's just natural to me to want to like learn, see and learn. And it's interesting as Japanese, at least the phonetics sound a lot like Portuguese, my second language, my mother tongue. Whereas, English, I don't really see the connection with Japanese, but obviously, like, I'm very intrigued by, Japanese, where I want to learn a language with characters. Now, there's a little blood tie there, but I don't need to go in depth on that. And Russian, where it's Cyrillic. These two languages that I don't have any connection to mentally, aside from maybe some genetic tethering, right, like blood. But aside from that, that part of things where you have to adapt your ways and manipulate how you go about things, right? So let's say, I think the easiest example is, in Tokyo, you have the escalators, the left side you stand on, the right side you walk up. You have all these train systems. You have all these things that kind of overlay that are complete disorientation when you're presented it for the first time, especially if you're, they call it the term when you hop off a plane and you're just tired, jet lagged. When you're jet lagged, when you're disoriented, very alien, very confusing. But then you spend like a day with it, and then it becomes the most majestic thing ever. And you're like, man, oh man, everybody in America, let's get rid of the cars. Maybe not all of them, but let's make it where like 10% of people are driving, and everyone hops on a freaking rail. Especially as a Houstonian, you're like, I despise being stuck in traffic for at least an hour to go 20 miles or whatever it used to be, right? Like going from Katy to University of Houston would take you a freaking hour, and I didn't want to deal with that. And you're like, man, if you had something like Tokyo, where you can go from one side of the city to the other side of the city within, 10, 20 minutes, just by hopping on, hopping off, it's crazy. Taxis, I don't know about taxis. I think when I was in Odaiba, that was the only place where I had a little issue with the transit system, where I was like, this is a bit far, especially walking from like one station to a different one, where everything else seems better positioned across Tokyo. Yes, to my understanding, at least on the lines that I was on, and stations I stopped at and hopped off and whatever. But that same thing like tethers back to being a trader, right? My process, my systems, my thought, my systems of thought, my belief systems, whatever, are somewhat concrete, but still, moldable with experience. And I think that's the main takeaway, right? You come as a tourist, like I want to come at something from my view, and then have it shape me, and then I have this new hybrid, adapted format version, right, where you're more, I guess, culturally or internationally sophisticated. I've always been to a degree, but I don't know. I don't think there is a level of like dissatisfaction with Americans not being as sophisticated, but at the same time, I have no idea if that's like a signal of wealth or some type of weird identity thing. And so what, right? Like that, I think that's irrelevant when it's just like, okay, I've been more traveled, and I'm pretty humble. At least I think I'm humble, and it's interesting seeing that difference or having this experience, especially having not internationally traveled in 7 years. So that's all for this episode. Please enjoy the 2 weeks of vlog that I'll just cram into this one massive thing, and see how that is. So thanks. I'm just trying to compress as much video as possible, because I know I don't know how much storage I will have by the end of my stay. Anyway, thank you. Bye.